Okay, so I'm working on this trim on this back window, back door rather, at this house that I grew up in, and the door, I don't know, it was installed, but the guy didn't change the trim, and I'd asked him, and it's all rotted out down there. As a matter of fact, it's even rotted down some of the 2x4s that are on there on the on the concrete, which are supposed to be pressure treated. But the way this is set up, let me. Okay, so this trim right here, obviously they don't make this trim anymore. The house was built in 1972, but this is typical 2 inches from here to there, and could be 1 inch or could be 1 1/4. Some of the one that I found kind of has some type of little, I don't even know what you call it, but a flange that comes up. Okay, so that's this guy right here. It's 1 inch thick from here to there, and then from here to here it's 2. And then this guy right here, it's a 1 by 2 3/4 by 8 feet. So it goes all the way down. So this guy goes all the way up, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. Okay, so it's here, and then it goes across right there. Goes all the way across right there. Oop, it's focusing on my. And then it comes all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down on both sides. Okay. So this is typical. Now, you know, some people are saying, hey, why don't you just cut it out like this, get just that, replace it. The problem is I can't find this trim anymore. So I'm going to replace the whole thing. Okay, and what I ended up getting was I ended up buying stuff that's already primed. See if I can show you here. Which I'm going to have to cut down because this is a 1 by 1 by 3, I think. No, 1 by 4. So I'm going to have to cut it down to 2 3/4 because the 1 by 4 is actually 3.5 inches this way, and then 3/4 of an inch this way. And then here's the trim. And so, yeah, so that's the trim right there. And you see how they have some type of really nice, I don't know. I wouldn't even know what you would call this, but it's neat. It's okay. And this is for a 3-foot white door, and this is a whole kit. And so it's cheaper to buy the whole kit than it is to buy this separate and cut it down yourself. I think this was $39.99 at Lowe's. They're not a sponsor of this video. But if you bought these separately, these guys were $20.99 each. And so you have to buy 3 of these guys, you know, just to get what you got here in a kit. So, yeah, I'm going to replace the 2 sides. I'm not going to replace the top on these because it's in good condition. I'm going to replace the 2 sides. And then when I cut them, I'm going to actually put paint on top. And then on these guys also, I'm going to paint. I'm going to make sure, let's see, I'm going to make sure that, oh, this has paint, I think. But if it doesn't, I'm going to make sure. The lighting is bad right here, so it kind of looks, let me go out this way. Let's do this way. Oh, boy, I just hit that. Yeah, they're primed. So I'm probably not going to have to, although I may have to put some, because I'm going to have to cut this down to a 32-inch door, so I'll probably put some kilt or something there and then put it up and paint it. Okay, so the first thing you got to do is figure out, you know, is I took my utility knife and I'm cutting out the old, whatchamacallit, caulking they put here. This door was put in about, man, 4 or 5 months ago, and it's really not done well. I'm gonna correct the issue once I get all this out. You're supposed to put on a door, you're supposed to put on each hinge, you're supposed to put shims. Well, that hinge don't have any shims, and neither does this guy down here. And then you're supposed to put shims over here on the, this is the deadbolt, and then the key lock, or the striking plate here behind it. And yeah, it just wasn't done right. It closes and everything, and it's fairly level, but yeah, I don't know if you can see the one shim that they put in there. So, but anyway, so I'll shoot some videos as I'm going through this. I wish I would have brought my little tripod and set it up, but anyway, that's how you do it. So right now I'm removing that stuff, and then what I'll do is I'll come back and show you how that back piece of wood, you know, I'll show you with that, how that's put on and nailed and stuff. Okay, talk to you in a little bit. Well, here's the door trim that I just took off. They're using some pretty gnarly nails there, going all the way through to the 2x4, which I didn't bring. I'm probably gonna have to go get some nails, and that's probably how I'm gonna either that or I'm gonna use a nailer, my nailer, and see if the nailer will hold it. But anyway, what's happening is those nails are pretty deep in there, and as I'm pulling this, it's jacking the jab right here, and I don't want to mess the jab up, so I'm going to cut around here with my oscillating saw to make that job a lot easier. Yeah, man, I don't want to mar this. You see how I'm marring it, and then it's pushing it, so I don't want to ruin that any more than what it already is. I don't want to, I'm afraid that if I keep, yanking like this, I'm gonna mess this up down here or whatever. So and that's one of the nails right there that cracks. So I'll like I said, I'll cut around here, one there, and one over there, and over here, one there. That's not one there. Then I don't know, one down there and one down there. Okay. And then that piece up there, I'll get it out in just a second. So this piece I'm gonna leave because it's still good. So I'll have to be replacing that one right there. All right, that's what's gonna happen. And then this will give me, once I take that out, I'll have enough space in, to put the shims in there or whatever, and then do this right. Okay, see y'all in a bit. Okay, so let me explain what's going on now. I managed to remove the trim on the outside, and so I'm going ahead and I'm going to support the hinges. This is what you're supposed to do. There's some shims. I didn't have, it's a pretty wide opening there, so I'm putting these shims there. And then I'm going to come up here to this hinge and same thing, put a piece of wood, some shims. That one is pretty much done. I'm not going to mess with it. And then over here, let me close the door. Then here, I'm going to put some shims here. Here's where the striker plate is, and then here's where the deadbolt is. So I'll put some shims there. There's one up there, and I'll probably put one down there, some shims down there, just so that this doesn't bow out. Just so that doesn't bow out like that. And then I went ahead and took off all the trim. And so I'm going to be cutting that after I fix the door. So that's basically what we got. And so I'm working on it. So hopefully it'll come out good. Now the one thing you don't want is you don't want the wood to sit on the concrete. So you cut it maybe about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. You make sure you paint it, and then you make sure you put a good bead of caulking underneath there, so that it doesn't get under, so water doesn't penetrate. And I'll show you that. So that's where I'm at. I managed to get this off. I did have to cut with an oscillating saw. I did have to cut around the nails because as I was prying out, I don't know if you can see I was marring this, and this was moving the door. And then to get those out, you know, I kind of just tapped on the wood around there and it broke away. And then I put a piece of wood here because this is real soft. God, man, this is I don't even know what this is made out of, but this is what they were using back in 1972 to sheathe the house. Now they're using like polyurethane Celotech, I think that's what it's called. I may be wrong in the name, but anyway. All right, so that's where I'm at. All right, be back. Okay, so I managed to put the shims in, and everywhere the shims are, like there is a screw going through them. There's a screw going through them, holding it. Here, that's where the deadbolt is, in case someone wants to kick it in. There's a 2-inch screw going through here, going through there. Likewise up here, and then likewise here on the hinges, they always leave on the jab side, they always leave one of the screws out so that when you put your shims, you can drill right through it and it'll hold. So that's that one, and that's that one down there. And it seems to be, I did put a thicker, what do you call it, weather stripping on it. There is an issue. I don't know if y'all can see that right there. The door is pretty plumb, but the weather stripping that came with it, it was not sealing very well up here, and there was light coming through, and so this is the fix. I think there's something wrong. I mean, if you notice, look, there's no gap right here at all. I mean, there should be a little bit more gap than that right there. Then you notice the gap over here. You know, so I think that they mortised these guys in right here on the door side too far that way. Yeah, I have some shims that, you know, I can try and put on this side and see if that would, but I'm not. So, okay, so now what I'm going to do is cut these off. And then I got to do the trim outside, man. I got to get the trim done today and stuff. So that's where I'm at. All right. Be back later. Okay, I don't know why it's videotaping. All right, it's going. So let's see if I can do this here. All right, here we go. Hopefully it won't be too loud. Look. All right, so, man, I highly recommend everybody have one of these tools. This thing, it's pretty incredible. I think at the time, this is a what is it? Rockwell F50 Sonic Crafter. They're up to some other, I don't know, F1, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, works awesome. The blades, you know, they're somewhat pricey now. Thank God. Thank you, Bidenomics. Anyway, great tool to have in your toolbox. Besides the what is it? The reciprocating saw. I don't have one of those, but yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna measure the wood for the outside. I got to put the trim back on this and get this going, get it closed. Okay, talk to y'all later. All right, so what I ended up doing was when I cut these guys down, I went ahead and primed the edges that were going to be exposed. This guy was for a 3-foot wide door, but our doors are 32-inch, so I went ahead and primed that. That's the outside, and I just use this stuff. So those are primed. Got my God, that's the pancake type compressor. I think that's what they call it. And so I'm getting ready to put the those trims on here. And everything came out real nice. Everything's working great. I put in a little bit wider, what do you call it, weather stripping, and everything's working great. The hinges are all supported now. Feel a lot better. The only issue down here is kind of weird. Let me show y'all. I don't know, I may need to go get some type of cement filler. That right there. What's happening right there. Anyway, my goal right now is to put the stuff around here. That's going to go around here, and then I'll put the trim probably tomorrow. Just want to get that done. So that's where I'm at. Should work out great, hopefully. If not, you know, a good painter and a lot of caulking will cover up, which is really not the prescribed way to do that. All right, and I'm using a 15 gauge 2.5 inch nail, I think, or 2-inch nails to hold the 1x2 5/8 first. I'm going to put maybe 2 or 3, and then I'm going to drill some 2-inch, what do you call it, screws into it. All right, see y'all later. All right. Wow, finally got it done. I will need to do some caulking, and I'm going to try and get some screws. The nails that we're using on these guys were really, really long on the old ones. God, they must have been like 3.5, almost 4-inch nails. And I'm just using 2-inch nails, 15 galvanized 2-inch nails. And tomorrow I'm going to come with some, I think I have some really thin screws that are about 2.5 inches long, and I'm going to drive them through that. But it came out real nice. I just need to do the caulking now. I definitely leveled that up there, the white one. Looking good. And then I just need to get some trim, or rather some paint, and paint it. And then the caulking, yeah, definitely going to put a lot of caulking underneath there. And all these are definitely treated. I painted them and stuff on the bottom there, so that in case any water starts to leach up on it, whatever. Yeah, they'll last a couple more years. These are the nails that they had in there. They're pretty long nails. Yeah, I was even thinking about repurposing these, you know, straighten them out. I remember when my dad was building this house in 1972, I would come and he would give me a hammer and he'd say, okay, any of these crooked nails, straighten them out, because they cost money. So God rest his soul. So I'm thinking about putting some screws in there, some thin screws. So, all right.